Hello, everybody. Welcome to this new episode of Reactor, the podcast about deep tech and impact companies and trying to make our way to profitable companies. I'm very, very glad to be welcoming Camille Colbus, or Colbus. I don't know what to say in English. Really nice to have you here, Camille. First, as always, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm Camille Colbus, and so I was the first employee of Too Good To Go, the app that fights food waste. So I spent a lot of my career working on developing Too Good To Go in France, in Europe, but also in the US. So it was a great entrepreneurial adventure. And today I'm a freelancer working on the impact projects, and especially in the second hand project. So I'm helping companies to scale up with all the competencies that I developed at Too Good To Go, and I'm super happy to be here with you today.
We're super happy to have you because your experience is very promising and for our next generation of entrepreneur. Directly jumping in, so I've listened to your previous podcast and build upon that just to focus on the let's say nitty-gritty parts of it. So you said at the beginning of Too Good To Go, the first 3 months you work for free, and then 4 months in, you got enough traction to hire. So can you tell us, how did you actually convince a store, even a bakery around the corner, just to go and you say, let's go and I'm Camille. You have to believe that this is gonna work. We are providing you a new source of income and avoiding waste. How did you manage to convince them? It's very
Yeah,
interesting.
so at the beginning it was really just a project, and the goal that we had was to help stores and to help bakeries and restaurants to stop wasting food. So the first thing is, how did we do that? Basically, we had so much passion and energy, and we just believed in our product. So when I joined Lucy, the co-founder of Too Good To Go, it was because I loved what she was doing, and I loved the product of having a solution that that helped bakeries to and everyone to actually stop wasting food, to help also like consumer to have access to good food at a low price, but also saving the planet. So I think, how did we manage to convince stores when you don't have we had the product, but when you don't have like a lot of stores already on the platform, it's really about passion. It's really about believing in your product.
Yeah,
And
real about passion. Yeah.
I spent like my full summer of 2016 to actually go into all the stores in the streets of Paris to just pitch them. And it was, for them, it's actually a free solution. Because it's a win-win. So Too Good To Go is only taking revenue on something that it's going to waste. So they didn't have to lose anything. So it was kind of like a free marketing also for them. So yeah.
Okay, got it. And so the first moments where, just jumping on a add-on on this question, is like, did you already have a product before, or you were just pitching and then getting interest, and then the app was coming later?
No, so for us, what was very important was to actually show them the product. So we already had the app. So it was a beta version, really not the same as we do have now. But it was super important to show them that you have something in your hand, so it can actually work instant, right away. So
exactly, yeah. Okay, so you have a prototype. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and so you did it, or Lucy did it? Both, you both did it?
No, so I was not the one building, so I had a lot of jobs at Too Good To Go. The only one that I didn't do was tech, so that was not me.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it was very interesting to have this feedback, because now the app is complex. There are a lot of people doing maintenance, but the starting point is really interesting to know what are the steps you took? Because every entrepreneurial journey is different, but seeing what you did might give some insight for next entrepreneurs listening to us. Regarding sales, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about sales, but you said that your revenues are based on product that are not supposed to be sold,
Yeah.
but still margin are not super high. You're not selling very expensive stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you had to raise money. So what were the elements you had to show to investors to say it's going to get big and bigger, and so we need money to actually make it happen.
Yeah. So we didn't raise money at the beginning because, again, at
Okay.
the beginning was just a small project, and it was really just for us, again, a passion to help stores to not waste food. But when we started to look at investor, what was important for us and to show, it was also like, what is the mission? What do we want to do? And this is where I think we were good because we always showed that Too Good To Go is not only a business. And actually, at the beginning, it was really not the point. It was just like helping stores to not waste food, and having this impact. And then with this impact, you can show that more than one third of everything that is produced is actually wasted. So then you can see the potential of it. And of course, when we went to investor, we already had a lot of traction from
Yeah.
independent stores, but also from big accounts like Carrefour. So it was really a matter of like showing what the potential of the waste that is currently on the planet. So it's more than one third in Europe, but in the US, it's like 40%. So then you can see the impact that you can have. And the impact is really related to, as it's a marketplace, to volume. So we needed to have like stores, but at the same time consumers. So it was super important for us to actually build the two bases of stores and consumer to be able to actually have revenues. And even if the revenue is just a commission of the bags that you can save on Too Good To Go, if you have volume, then you can save a lot of bags, and then it's actually related to the revenue.
Okay. Super cool. Super cool. And you in your journey inside Too Good To Go, you got like so many jobs I couldn't keep track. And
Me neither.
and yeah, it's hard to follow, but that's actually impressive. And I have a question because you didn't really answer the question inside. You said you Googled it. Most of the things you wanted to learn, that it's hard to learn management and learn HR, sales only unless just Google it. So what's your tips to learn a new job like you did?
Yeah, so I think I'm kind of super adaptable. So yeah, I did Google it, but also I'm a big believer in like learning by doing. And this is what we did with
Okay.
Too Good To Go. Everything we've done, it was about doing it. And again, how I did it and how we did it was really about passion and about energy of like making sure that no bags and no food is going to the trash. So just with this passion, I just like was trying to do my best to making sure that nothing was going to be wasted. So I mean, I think there is no like big magic behind it. It's really about, again, doing by learning and having a good team. I think I've learned a lot from my team, and on my different jobs. I think what is super important is to get the best expert around you that can actually brings you a lot of expertise,
Yeah.
of competencies on the table, and then you can learn from them.
Yeah, that was very inspiring during the podcast I listened to. Is you said that you were some point head of sales, in the early days of Too Good To Go, and then you hired a head of sales, and sometimes you can say, that was my job, ego starts coming in, but for you it was not the case, I guess. And you said, you were hiring someone who is more advanced and more, skilled than me, and is gonna do a perfect job at this. So that
Yeah.
was very interesting, because sometimes it's, if you're too egocentric, you're saying, okay, this was my job, but there
Yeah.
are people that are, 30 years of experience as head of sales, so you
Yeah.
better learn
But
from them.
yeah, but I think also like for an entrepreneur, you need
Yeah,
to don't have ego, and you need to understand when you're not good enough, and to actually be able to say, okay, I'm not good enough. I don't have the expertise. So let's bring someone that will do better. And also, I'm also a big fan of bringing people with more experience so I can learn from them. For me, I don't want to be surrounded by people that I cannot learn from, because then I won't be able to also grow as a person. One value we had at Too Good To Go is growth minded. And
yeah,
the idea is really to actually grow by what you can learn from you, but from people, from your consumer, from your clients. And that was really a big value for us and everyone in the team, including myself. We were able to actually grow Too Good To Go thanks to this value. Yeah.
yeah. Very interesting, very interesting. You mentioned it already, that you have a two side of Too Good To Go, like the B2B connection with stores and large corporation, but as well B2C. And this is also a good topic for the startups that are listening or watching or reading a Reactor. They're always struggling with, the marketing side and being visible.
Yeah.
And so for you, what was your strategy at Too Good To Go? When did you decide? Were you like posting regularly, or were you hiding in the dark? What worked? What didn't work?
Yeah. So it's funny because a lot of startups and projects that I'm helping now, and I'm advising now. I'm asking you, how
Yeah,
did you do it? How did you do your marketing side? Because now
yeah,
it's like I need to put so much money in it. And actually, I'm telling them that no, you don't have to put a lot of money in marketing. Again, it's about
right.
believing in your project. And so the 3 years of Too Good To Go, we didn't have marketing budget the 3 first years. So, and the way that we were doing it was, again, simply talking about Too Good To Go on different platforms, on different groups on Facebook, going into events, and also like just saying it's a win-win product, and it's a it's not even a product, it's a project. And if you want to be part of the movement of fighting food waste, then with Too Good To Go, you can easily do it through the app. So we didn't put a lot into budget marketing, but we did a lot of like sensibilization to food waste. And Too Good To Go was simply an easy action that you could do to help the planet and fight food waste.
Okay, so and you were like using, as you say, free content. So you were, yeah, just posting. Lucy was posting, I guess. All team was posting because you were all very passionate about the subject. So it
Yeah.
was not
So we had
difficult.
no, of course, now it doesn't seem difficult, but of course, when we did it again, it was a passion project. So we were doing blogs, we were just sharing it for students, so on network for students, on everywhere we could actually talk about it. We were talking about it. We did like also what helped us at the beginning, I think, was we did a crowdfunding campaign. It was really at the beginning,
Okay.
and for me, a crowdfunding is, of course, to raise money, and the goal of the campaign was actually to launch Too Good To Go in other cities, because at that point we were in Paris and Lille, but we wanted to actually expand Too Good To Go in Bordeaux, in Lyon, in Nantes, everywhere in France. But the crowdfunding campaign helped us a lot to actually build a community. And I think it's really the goal at the beginning of a platform is to build a community, to have your first consumer, your first VIP client that can actually help you to spread the word of Too Good To Go. And I think that helped us a lot.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you for the answer. Actually, the question after I had that you already answered it a little bit because you said you already had like a first app, even it was the beta of the beta, at the beginning. So you were not in the fake it until you make it because you already had a product. But what about feedback from actual store? How did you manage that? Because you have to, adapt from their living
Yeah.
style and, lifestyle.
Yeah. So the feedback for us was always super important from our stores, but also from our consumers. So at the beginning, it was, of course, it was easier because now it's we have like in France we are more than 40,000 stores on the
Wow.
platform. But at the beginning, we had our stores and our consumer all the time on the phone. They had our
Okay.
personal numbers. We were called by consumers that were saying like, this is
Wow.
good. Thank you so much for the platform. Thank you so much for what you're doing. So it was always, so not a fake it until you make it, but more about like building on the feedback of them. And I think that's super important because we didn't want to build a product or platform that does not answer any issue. So yeah.
Do you remember one feedback that was very helpful and one thing you were completely off and you had to, change? If
Yes.
any.
So, for example, from a store, I think I remember. So at some point, we were actually giving them some boxes,
Okay.
of course, from recycled boxes. But at some point, we had a store saying that it's actually not simple for them to actually have us bringing them boxes. And actually, for us, it was not the best logistic way to do
Yeah.
it. So we just stopped it. And actually, everyone was super happy with it. And we actually started to ask consumer to bring their own box and to bring their own bags. So actually, it's also reducing waste.
Yeah, because from my point of view, you were actually creating more waste. So it's like, if it's not used, it's gonna be additional waste. So yeah, I'm glad
Exactly.
that it went that way. I'm curious now because I wanted to say, is there any oppositions to this project? But actually, it's so great that I don't think anyone would have any objection. But the thing is, like, how did you manage competition? Because no one thought about doing it the same in the US at the same time, or or in Africa, or in Asia.
Yeah. So no. So at the beginning, we had one competitor, but to go was always built on collaboration. So we didn't
Okay.
see it as a competitor because again, there is so much food that is wasted that we
Sure.
can have so much actors on it. So it was just like making sure that we could all do something. So actually making sure that there is no waste at the end of the day. But no, we didn't see not a big similar project, neither in Europe, neither in the US, and not one that was actually doing the same thing as us. So, of course, after some years, we saw some similar platform popping up in different countries over the world. But again, that's good because if we're not in South America, for example, it is really good that someone is actually doing it because there is waste over there. So let's just do it.
Yeah, that's a good mindset. Just saying, there's so much waste. We have the same mission, so go and do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, don't be afraid of the competition sometimes. One thing that is very dear to your heart is hiring and building a strong culture. So one thing I was impressed is when I read your biography is that you directly started hiring sales just like 6 months or a year after doing sales yourself. And many of the readers that we have here, listeners, they are mostly CEOs, with one field of expertise: engineer, researcher, marketing, and they usually hire similar profile as them, and and you managed and you hired, many different profile. How did you do that? How did you, what lesson did you learn from this endeavor?
Yeah, on hiring sales.
Yeah, hiring sales. Sales is a good point.
Yeah. So basically, I think as a CEO or as a co-founder, if you're alone and only working on the product and engineering, you need to learn sales, and
Yeah.
or you need to have people around you that know how to do sales, because if you don't know how to sell your product, then it cannot work. You need to understand why your product is good, also to be able to actually work on the product. So at the beginning, yes, we did the sales ourselves, but it was important for us to hire quickly salespeople, because again, the platform is a marketplace, so we need consumer and we need stores. And if we don't have enough stores, then we cannot have a consumer. So I mean, it was again, it was really hiring on like the passion and why people wanted to join us, because we wanted people to be able to not say the platform. We wanted people to talk about the mission we had and we have. So you need to believe in what we're doing. You need to believe in that there is so many food that is wasted on the planet, that we don't want that, and we're just having one specific product and one specific action that can help you and help stores to reduce their waste. So it was really about energy, passion, and of course we were training them on the sales and on the pitch. But again, Too Good To Go is an easy win for stores to make revenue, to have marketing, but also to just not waste food at the end of the day. And everyone, I mean, when I started, I talked to so many stores that were crying of like making good food at the beginning of the day, and at the end they had to throw it because they cannot like sell it the day after, and they were actually in need of a solution. So yeah.
So you're more looking for passion and motivation for the mission than just like pure sales skill. Okay, that's interesting.
Because when you believe in what you're selling, then you're a good seller.
And you can sell anything, like
if you believe in it.
You believe in the mission, so you can learn. One question I asked you a few times ago, a few months ago, is actually, as something that I hear a lot too, is our next target is the US after France, and on Too Good To Go side, you went from France to Spain to Italy, Portugal, progressively, and even if the US is a very attractive market for you, how did you decide not to go to the US first?
Yeah, so we thought about it a lot.
Okay.
But I mean, we thought about the US a lot. At the beginning, it was again just a dream. I remember we were working with Lucy one day, and I told her, oh, imagine one day we'll be in the US, but it was kind of like the dream that never come true. It's just like it's something that you dream about it, but you don't really think it will happen. Again, I think we were kind of naive in a good way. We didn't have big expectation. Of course, we wanted to grow, to be able to actually stop the food waste on the planet, but we were not like trying to build the best product to make sure to have so much business and blah blah. Again, it was just making an impact. So when we thought about the US is a big country, and a lot of startups go there, and they actually fell because it's a completely different market. It's a completely different way of working. And first, again, there is so many food that is wasted in Europe. It was kind of close to us, and we at that time we were also working with opportunities. So we had a lot of entrepreneurs that were coming to us from Europe saying, I love what you're doing. Let's launch it in Spain, in Italy. And actually, this is how we were recruiting our first country launcher and country manager of those countries by opportunities. And so it was kind of like, okay, maybe one day we'll be in the US, but now we need to focus on what we do in France. We need to be good, and we need to offer something that helps consumer and help stores to fight food waste. And let's do it in Europe. So we didn't have like expansion plans at the beginning. We were just making sure to spread the word on the world of Too Good To Go, but in Europe.
So I guess what you were saying is the metric that you use is mostly impact. The impact one, like the revenue is important. I guess you're not NGO, but
no,
still.
of course, but it was always impact. So basically, the way that we measure the business of Too Good To Go is how many bags we save.
Yeah.
So it was
that's
always
good.
impact.
You could have lost. You could have lost your mind. With the fundraising. That happens.
No. It does. But we always had the impact in our mind, and still.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good. So, if there is a company out there, that does a huge market opportunity in the US, and they want to go, what's your advice or what's a piece of advice for them?
Yeah, I think the piece of advice is first, make sure that you have something strong in Europe first, and then go as a co-founder in the US. So, but to be able to go as a co-founder, you need to have a strong team in place first in Europe.
Yeah. So the US requires one of the founder to go. Definitely.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, because I mean, it depends what you want to build, but also because what we wanted was to build Too Good To Go as we built it in Europe. So we also wanted to have the same, not the same company, but at least we want to have the same values. And the values for us was always super important. So yeah, you need a co-founder because a co-founder is a mirror of the value.
Yeah, for me that makes sense. That makes sense. I've seen even other success stories on this, that and also failure when the co-founder do not go to the actually London. It was a British implementation, and it works. It didn't work until the founder moved. So it might be a good lesson here. In my newsletter, as I said, I featured many circular economy companies like Too Good To Go, such companies like Montalo, Refair. You work with many more companies like this. What's your number one piece of advice for them at the early days? When some of the companies are just the founder, or maybe two founders, or maybe one founder and one freelance. Do you have any tips on how to succeed?
Yeah, I think the first one will be the team. So for me, the success of Too Good To Go has always been the team, because if you bring the right people together, then you can really move mountains together. And the second one is don't move away from your impact and what you really want to do.
Yeah, that's a really sound and clear piece of advice. Pieces of advice. Thank you very much. So now, if people wants to follow you or contact you, maybe what should they do? What's the best?
I mean, they can follow me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. Let's do it. Do you have one maybe impact and more from business impact, I don't know, recommendation for our audience? Already listened to the one you give at Visio. Maybe it's Dora was saying today still?
Yeah, so again, for entrepreneurs is about believing in what you're doing, believing in your project. If you have a mission-driven company, just stay focused on your mission. Don't look at competition. Of course, you can have a look at it, but don't change your focus and your priority. If competitors are doing something, it's important to stay focused. Again, it's important to have the best team that you can have with experience, with expertise that can really brings you a lot. You don't, as a CEO, as a co-founder, you don't need to know everything. And if you know everything, that you're not the best CEO for it, because then you're just making. I mean, you can do everything by yourself, and so making sure that you just bring the right people and don't have ego. That's a hard one, but put your ego aside. There is no ego in a team, and if you want to succeed, it's important to put it aside.
And do you have one person that inspires you, or one resource that changed your life, like one book, one podcast, one YouTube channel?
Yeah, so there is one versus that actually changed me, helped me a lot, and actually I think helped Too Good To Go. So there is two experts that actually developed really good it's the Radical Candor feedback. So basically it's a model to how to give feedback. And again, it's really related to human and it's really related to people. And to be able to actually grow as a person, to be able to actually grow as a team and a company, you need to be able to and to be open to giving and receiving feedbacks. And the Radical Candor is about caring and challenging. And I think that helps me and the company a lot.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't know about that. Thank you. It's a discovery for me too.
Yeah.
Based on the description of the podcast and the newsletter, do you see if there is a good fit for me to invite someone who actually like sold something very hard to sell, even for you who did the impossible with Too Good To Go? You say it's cool stuff. That it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a long way until it's done. It could be something like even tech. Do you have any name that comes to mind?
Yeah, so I saw during my career at Too Good To Go a lot of companies and a lot of products that actually want to do good. For me, impact is really important because we live in a world with so many challenges from a social and environmental perspective. So for me, it's super important to be able to build something with an impact. And also like with Too Good To Go, what we succeed to do was to build a business that is actually driven by the impact. So you can actually have a revenue and but making an impact. I think there is a lot of companies that are doing that right now. One that I really like that we actually did our incubation at Too Good To Go at the really beginning at Make Sense was We Can Do. So We Can Do, what they do is actually they help small artisan to spread the artisanal into people, and actually they put you in contact with a lot of artisan workers, and it's also like a way of connecting with what we know how to do, what we want to do, and it's also a social connection. So I really like the startup, and so it's a really good model. It's also marketplace. I love marketplaces. So yeah,
We Can Do. Let's say.
Yeah. No, do.
So they've been here for a long time since they did the incubation
actually, we did the incubation together. So yeah.
So like 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, super cool. We are reached the end of the my list of questions. So I won't bother you anymore. But thank you very much, Camille, for all the insight that you provided. I'm sure it will be valuable for our audience. So we're maybe looking forward to a second invite, in 30 episode, let's say, to get some new insight from your work. I was really happy. I learned a lot from you today.
Great.
And
Thank you so much.
thank
Thank you
you
for
very
the
much for
invite.
everybody for listening. Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did, and I look forward to seeing you and watching you again. Bye bye.
Bye.